So I went on a date yesterday and I do not even know how to process what happened. So I'm going to tell you guys the story. It is crazy. Men are crazy. The date starts off fine. He picks me up down by the river. He's hotter than his photos. I'm like, yes, this is going to be a great time. He did say that we were going to go swimming, and so I knew that he was going to be taking me somewhere outside of like the city limits. Did not realize it was going to be like a 40-minute drive and it would be no cell service at all. So it was fine. The vibes were good in the car. We were having a really good chat. Like, he was really personable. So we pull out into this like little riverside spot. It's more like a lake. It's technically a river, but it's more like a lake. Beautiful spot. There's pebbles. There's logs to sit on. We're just looking out over the water. Incredible. He's bought drinks. I bought drinks. We sit down on a log, start chatting. We're going to wait for the sun to come back out before we go for a swim. So we're chatting, then the sun pops out and we're like, okay, this is our opportunity. He's like, do you want to go for a swim? I was like, yes, that's what we came here for. Let's do it. So I start changing into my bikini. I didn't wear it because I wasn't 100% sure that we were going to be swimming, but as an Australian, I can change into a bikini without showing anything pretty easily. So I start changing into my bikini and then he's like, oh, do you mind if I go naked? Excuse me? Sure. Like, I'm trying not to yuck anybody's yum. Like, you're a free spirit. You do what you need to do, but I'm not going naked. I'm going to keep my clothes on. I don't know you. And so I'm getting dressed. He's stripping off. I go and get into the water so that my back's kind of to him and I'm sort of swimming out. It's so freaking cold, by the way. And I'm swimming out and I'm trying not to turn around till he gets in the water. So I hear him get in the water. I'm like, cool, turn around. Then we kind of jump in. He jumps in. He gets straight out. It's so cold. I'm like freezing. And so then I get out as well, get back to the like log. I wrap my sarong around me and I sit down. This man's just like toweling off and whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like just drinking my beer. And then he sits down, wraps the towel around him, but then like hangs it over his legs so that like his dick is still out. And I'm like, okay, like what the fuck? So I just ignore it and I'm drinking my drink and I'm talking my conversation. And then eventually he like covers up. So I'm like, okay, maybe it was just a weird moment. Maybe he was just getting some sun. Who knows? But then he's like, oh, like, do you mind? I just need to go get my water bottle. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So leaves the towel behind, gets up, stark as naked, walks back to the car. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Comes back, covers up. And then he's like, oh, I'm just going to put these beers in the river. Like walks out in front of me, like completely stark. Like bends over, like his ass facing me, puts his beers in the water. And I'm like, okay, like, fuck, like this is just like kind of getting to be a bit much. Maybe I can start like wrapping the conversation up. I'm like checking the time. And so we're just sitting there. I'm like, why don't we just go for another swim? We get in again, we get out. I'm like, okay, like that's probably my last one of the day. And I'm trying to work out, like, how do I wrap this situation up? And so I'm just sitting there enjoying the sun. I don't really know what to fucking say. So like, I'm kind of just like sitting back, like enjoying the sun on my face when it's like there. And then it gets fucking weirder. This man is like, so like, is it super weird if I get really turned on by nature? I don't know you, dude. What the fuck? So I'm just like, what? So I just like laugh it off and then we go back to chatting and we're just talking about normal stuff. Like we're talking about like, do you have siblings? Like straight after this. And I'm just like, you know, like let's continue the conversation. Again, I've like mentioned a couple of times that it's starting to like get late. Like I'm like, oh wow, like I can't believe it's 5:30. Like it's so light still. And just trying to be like, you know, like maybe we should go back to town. And then again, it gets weirder. So then he's like, would it be weird if I start playing with myself? Like he actually asked that question. And then I'm kind of like, what? But even though he asked the question, he wasn't really asking a question because he was already doing it. And so I'm just like, so what the fuck? But I'm like, also like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like I have no cell service. I'm 40 minutes out of town. Like, is this really my fucking life right now? So I'm like, just, you do what you gotta do. But like, And so like he starts doing his thing and then, you know, once that's over, everything just goes back to normal. He just like fully starts like talking and like engaging again and goes back to like as if we're at like the beginning of the day as we were driving up. I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on? And so after that, I was kind of like, oh, like it's getting late. Like we should head back to town. Like I'm like, we need to fucking go. Wrap this up. And so like another 40 minutes back in the car, we're like, you know, having normal conversation. I'm just like playing along with everything, like going like, yeah, like that's great. Like, cool. Yeah. Like good conversation. And then he drops me back to my van. He gets out of the car, but I'm like literally like got out and I was like, thanks, get in my car. And then I like wave through the window. start my car. I'm like, I was planning to stay in town for the night, like not with this man, but I was planning to stay in and like go out and get some dinner and like just do some stuff by myself. And then after this, I was like, I really just fucking want to go home. As soon as I got home, I called one of my really good friends and was like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, if you needed another sign as to why to not use the apps, there it is. No, kidding. I'm trying not to make this like, I really want to try this year to like actually meet some people. And like, I know I'm in another country, like it's probably never going to end up. Oh, I mean, I'm not trying to put anything out there. I know a lot of people go and they do this all the time and they have great stories. And my previous like date in Whistler, like I said, was great. So I need to just like not let it ruin it for me. But I will not be letting a man I do not know take me out of town ever again.
Get ready with me as I tell you my craziest dating story in Dubai. I think it's gonna be kind of long, so honestly get some snacks and buckle in. I was dating this guy in Dubai who I really liked. Immediately we clicked and immediately I saw full long-term potential. We would be consistently talking on the phone, very openly and honestly. Our communication was really great. It was the start of a really healthy relationship. And even though I liked him so much and everything was going so well, deep down inside me, deep down, I knew he wasn't my soulmate. But because things were going so well, I had the thought in my mind, I don't know what's gonna break us up. Like, everything's going so well. I don't really know what it's gonna be. And then one day we're just chit-chatting on the phone and he starts talking to me about his coworkers. And in order for me to visualize them better, he sends me a group photo of like him and all of his coworkers. My first initial thought when I see this photo popped up onto my screen is, I've seen this photo before. And as I start looking closer at the photo, I see a guy that I used to date. And of course, the person that he wants to talk about in this photo is obviously the guy that I used to date. And he starts telling me a story about him. And I say, wait, hold up, before you finish the story, I have to tell you something. And I tell him exactly what had happened. Me and him started dating when I first moved to Dubai. It was nothing serious. We went out maybe a handful of times, and it was a mutual ghost, I'm pretty sure. And the words that came out of his mouth was words that I never ever expected. He tells me, Sophia, you know that he's married, right? And I'm like, you mean like he just got married? Like a few months ago? No, he's been married for a really long time and has 2 kids who live back in his home country. The way my heart dropped, oh my fucking god. You might be thinking that this is the crazy part in the story. It's not. He asked me, how did you not know that he was married? And I was like, dude, I would have never guessed in a million years. And I asked him, well, how close are you guys? Like, is this awkward to know that I dated him? He also asked me like how far we went in our dating, and I was very honest with him. We went far. I have to set the scene. When I first came to Dubai, I wasn't looking for like my one true love. I was mostly dating to get to know the lay of the land, like see how people operate here, and like just for funsies. And they used to be coworkers. They weren't anymore. But one time when this guy, the one that I was currently dating at the time, picked me up for a date, they were still on the phone. And I was in the car and they were on the phone. So they're not close, but close enough. And he also kind of made me feel bad. He was like, why did you date him? He is so opposite of me. And in my mind, what I really wanted to say was, well, why are you friends with a cheater? And after that moment, things got like a little bit awkward, but we talked about it. He was like, is this gonna be awkward? Like, can we get over this? And I'm like, why are you asking me? This is something that you kind of have to get over because like it affects you more than it affects me. I don't have anything to do with that guy anymore. And then he sent me like photos of them together from back in the day, and it was like really weird. And he told me, he was like, you know, I know a lot of people in this industry. Who else did you date in Dubai? Just so that this doesn't happen again. Which is a valid question, I'm not gonna lie. And then I listed off all of the guys that I dated in Dubai. There were not that many. And he told me, he's like, okay, I don't know anybody else. And I'm like, okay, great. And I was like, is this gonna be a problem? Like, is this something that we stop dating over? Because he was very uncomfortable by it. I was also kind of uncomfortable because he was so uncomfortable. And he's like, listen, this is so outside of my control and your control. Like, this happened a year and a half ago. It would be stupid for me to break up with you because of this. Like, you did nothing wrong and I can't be mad, which I really, really appreciated, because if roles were reversed, I would have dumped him immediately. Like, I personally think that's just so icky. A few days go by, we've talked about it more in depth, we're kind of over it, and he goes to hang out with his friends and I go to hang out with my friends one night, and then at the end of the night he was supposed to pick me up and we were supposed to meet. This is a few days later. So I'm sitting with my friends, I'm actually telling them this story, and me and the guy that I'm dating are texting, and he sends me a group photo of him and his friends all at a restaurant. Oh my god, my heart's beating out of my chest! Oh my god, my heart's beating out of my chest! He sends me a photo of all of them together at this restaurant, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, he's probably with the guy that I dated. No, he's with another guy that I dated. You guys, my heart drops to my stomach. I'm looking at this photo in just like complete shock and disbelief. Like, I can't believe this is happening again. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but Sophia, you told him everybody that you dated in Dubai. How did this happen? Because I didn't date this guy in Dubai. I dated him in Miami. In Miami in 2021 when I lived there and he came there for a vacation. Okay, we did not date. It was a one-night stand. And I'm sitting there with my friends thinking, this is it. This is what's gonna kill our relationship. Like, this is it. And they're like, no, wait, relax. Let's figure out some details first. Obviously, I don't say anything to the guy. Like, he sends me a picture and I'm like, oh, great, cute. And meanwhile, I'm literally freaking out. And then I'm like, okay, maybe, first of all, maybe they're not even close. So I go on their Instagram. First of all, the only reason I still know, I remember what this guy's name was, the one in Miami, because I have it listed in my phone. So I go on their Instagram and they're not following each other. So then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they don't know each other. Maybe this is like the first time they met. And then about an hour later, the guy that I'm dating sends me another photo of all of them, saying that they went from the restaurant to one of the guy's houses, and the picture is with the guy that I dated in Miami in the middle. And in my heart, I'm like, how much you want to bet it's his house? And my friends are telling me not to tell him, but there's no way in hell I can't tell him. Like, because if the roles were reversed, I would hate for him to keep this big of a secret, because what happens if we all go out together and he introduces me as his girlfriend to this guy, and this guy's like, oh, I actually know her. So when he picks me up, the first thing he says, I'm not even joking. I was like, how was your night? And he's like, it was great. I made so many new friends today. And then we go back to his place and I ask him like more information, and they did indeed go to this guy's house, and this guy starts telling me about this guy, how much he likes him, how they're gonna be bestest of friends, how they're gonna go out tomorrow and watch some kind of game. And I'm like, oh my God, like I have to tell him. And he even notices, he's like, you seem off, like what's wrong? And I'm like, listen, I have to tell you something. When I told him, he was in pure disbelief. He made me say his name and what he does for work, because he was just in disbelief. He was like, there's no fucking way this is happening again. And we're both completely defeated. You can tell that he's just so shocked, because I think for him, I was on a pedestal, like I was the perfect girl, and knowing this information about me just like dropped me down like below the earth's surface down to the core. Honestly, don't blame him. Like, I actually cried that night because one, I didn't want to lose him, and second, I felt like such a whore. Like, I have never regretted anything in my life, but in that moment I deeply regretted like having been so promiscuous. And then we had like a pretty long conversation about it. He said the same thing, like, this happened so long ago, I really can't fault you, but I am scared this is going to happen again. And honestly, I couldn't even promise him that it wouldn't, because how do I know that somebody who I dated in Miami or Canada isn't gonna move to Dubai and become his friend? Like, I don't know that. We have to live in this bubble of uncertainty. I asked him if this means that this is gonna be the end, and he was like, honestly, I don't know. Like, I have to process. And he did take it like a champ, because again, I would have never been okay with this. We did still continue dating after that. It was a little bit awkward in the beginning, but we got over it. But this whole story doesn't even matter because then he left me to go back to his ex-wife, so I didn't even have to tell him all of that. I'm somebody who doesn't believe in coincidences, so when this happened, I knew we're not supposed to be together. I knew a breakup was inevitable. I was just really upset because I didn't want the breakup to be my fault, like to come from my end. So honestly, I'm glad it happened and he left me the way that he did, but I just cannot believe that happened. Like, what are the chances? Honestly, what are the chances? When I told my friend, she was just like in disbelief, like in pure shock and disbelief. Because honestly, I just think that it's crazy.